The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by SIDEBAR, its guests, callers, and advisors are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS Verizon Media Group. SIDEBAR, a 103.5 The Beat podcast, is a production of ILTV Studios and may not be reproduced or represented, in part or in its entirety, without the express written consent of Verizon Media Group. SIDEBAR is the intellectual property of Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2024. All rights reserved.
Welcome to SIDEBAR, 103 The Beat podcast, powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna. And with me today is BahaMian Trae.
What's going on, man, bro? It's a pleasure to be here.
I don't feel like I need to necessarily introduce you to the people out there, but for people who may not know, just give them a brief. For the random person who's on the bus right now, and they're like, I've never heard of BahaMian Trae. Just give them a brief overview.
I just make big taunts.
There we go. Now they know. All right, now I'm not gonna lie to you. Originally, my plan was to rant for an hour, but then I was like, I'm supposed to sit down and talk with Trae, and then I was like, I don't want to drag him into like a controversial topic.
Nobody drag me into the conversation because it's important. I feel like whatever conversation you're about to bring forward right now is important.
That's how I feel as well. So, okay, because it's not like a massive divide. It's more like there is this idea that is happening, and it's come about as a result of the Vybz Kartel concert last week. Right? Or I'll say last year. Like, that's how long ago it feels. Right?
Yeah.
Now,
I guess that's how long it dragged.
Right. So, for anybody who didn't see it, there was this video Sunday morning, the morning after the concert. Mm-hmm. People shared a video. Julien Believe comes out. Now, mentally, I could see where that makes sense. Where it's like this slow build-up of the song that...
You do?
I could see, no, I see specifically, if you know the song, I understand why you'd be like, okay, yeah, this could be my opener, and then X, Y, and Z. Once again, I didn't attend the concert, so I literally only have that 10 seconds of footage to judge the entire concert for. I lied. So Jashadi posted Vybz.
Oh, okay.
He posted Vybz. So when Vybz is on, everybody know the words. Yeah, but that's a whole different topic, right? Now, actually, no, it's the same topic. This is my issue, right? So my issue is Julien comes out, and this is clearly the swell, the crescendo. Everybody's supposed to jump up and dance.
Yeah. And
it wasn't even crickets. The crickets were silent.
I love the way I use crescendo.
Right. Thank you, right? So now everybody's like, boy, you ain't nobody even check for Julien. Ha, LOL, that's it. I thought, I'm Bahamian. We all thought, wow, that is a moment, right? Then came the back and forth of whether this is a lack of support for Bahamian culture in general, or whether this is persons with a personal disdain for an individual. And then Julien's been doing the tours. The media tours, he doesn't understand where the hate is coming from. All he's ever do is try to promote Bahamian culture, etc., etc. Now, here's the thing. Before we dive into this conversation, let me be the first person to say, and this is the part he could clip and replay over and over. Julien Believe is a talented individual. I'm not going to call him a young man because he's older than me. All right? He's a talented individual. The songs he writes, they are catchy. This is a cool song. All right? That's the end of that sentence. The issue and I was honestly, Gabby over there told me to not mention it at all, just leave it alone. And I said, maybe, okay, leave it alone. And then I saw a newspaper article where he was like, he basically is like, it's akin to it being a lack of support for Bahamian culture.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to talk about today, because I don't think that's it. And I don't think it's one specific, I don't think it's one thing. I think it's a myriad of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that out of this group of things that it is, right, it's easy to just be like, oh, well, ain't nobody like him, or ain't nobody like me, or this isn't a big deal, or these people just hate. Like, there's a million different ways to look at this.
Right.
And I don't think it's one specific thing. So as a Bahamian artist,
right,
I want to speak, me and you going to have this conversation
yes,
about what, in Stephen's estimation and in Trae's estimation, what this is, what does this mean in the larger, grander scheme of things?
Mm-hmm.
And see, I don't even know if we should say how to address it, because that presupposes that we know it's right or wrong, right? As opposed to just be an observation. But she says that we have to take a break. So we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive right into it. This is Sidebar, What to Be podcast powered by ILTV. I am Stephen Hanna with BahaMian Trae. We will be right back.
Need a new car for your business? Well, EV Motors and the Bahamas Development Bank have some news for you.
At the Bahamas Development Bank, we are committed to promoting Bahamian businesses and entrepreneurs. With our green lending program, businesses are able to access up to 100% financing to purchase electric vehicles for commercial and fleet use. We are so excited to partner with EV Motors for this initiative to encourage and empower business owners to drive green.
If you haven't visited our dealership on Tonic Williams Starling Highway as yet, we have a wide variety of brand new EVs from some of your favorite brands like Toyota, BYD, and Mercedes-Benz. As the official distributor of Kerry Commercial Vehicles, we offer a selection of high-performance commercial EVs. Currently, you can purchase the Kerry Cargo Van and the Kerry Elephant Truck, and soon, flatbeds and box trucks for all your business needs.
To access up to 100% financing to purchase an EV for your business, you will need to provide us with a few documents: the business plan or executive summary, business license, historical financials, relevant KYC documents, and the vehicle and insurance quote.
With an interest rate of 6.75% and a repayment period of up to 8 years, you don't want to miss this fantastic opportunity.
To apply, visit our website today at bahamasdevelopmentbank.com or give us a call at 702-5700.
Welcome back to Sidebar, 102 The Beat podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna with BahaMian Trae. Today we are talking, that's his intro. We are talking about, on one hand, we are talking about Bahamian culture, but specifically through the lens of the events of the Julien Believe concert.
Saga.
Sorry, remember
that was it. But yeah.
Saga, right? Because I really want to get to what happened, as opposed to, because we observe people not responding, all right, and then people thinking that's funny, all right?
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. Like what? Like I'm trying to make sure, like, figure out what's the question.
Right.
So that I
this is my thing, right? My question for it is, right? Well, first we have to set the stage. So the stage is that he comes out, he says what he says, nobody responds. What was happening, right? And there is this temptation to think this is a negative thing, but this is in either direction. Either it's a negative thing towards him, or it's a negative thing as a reflection on the culture itself.
And a reflection on the culture in what way?
Right.
Because guess what? Like, you know what my whole, like, thing about it is when it comes to the whole situation that happened at the concert. First of all, like, when you talk about, like, that happening on stage, the long and short of it is it was a disconnect. That's all it is. And you know what? Like this part of it, I'll mention from a musician standpoint, just because, like, you know what I mean. You asked. You said, mind you, you see on theory, like the whole idea of how he came out, and like you thought that was cool. And some people even say him coming out, he sounded good. But guess what? Like as we can see by the video that came out,
Right.
there is so much more to that when it comes to going into show business. Why? Like you have to think about all sorts of different things when you're getting on stage. Like I promise you, even though people might look at that in a critical way to say, oh yeah, that was cool, why did they respond that way? Obviously the people were not pleased. So that's just boom, one disconnect right there. And it's like at the end of the day, like trying to define the reason why behind that disconnect don't have, like, we don't have to like make it seem like it's about, oh, Bahamians not supporting the culture. And I love the way how the Bahamian people have been so vocal about how they feel about this, because too long people have been pushing like narratives to make it seem like, oh, this is what it is and da 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 da. And that's kind of like what we was talking about the last time. Like when it comes to Bahamians supporting Bahamians, that like statement is so obsolete now.
Right.
Because we have people who support Bahamians that are out there, but what we have to also acknowledge is Bahamians have always been critical about entertainment, whether you Bahamian or not.
Yeah.
Ludacris have a story of coming to the Bahamas, getting burst with bottles.
Yeah.
So what we can say, we don't support American culture now because
don't support rap.
we don't support rap because we bursting Ludacris with bottles.
Yeah.
But Young Jeezy been here how much times? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I could still sell at the concert in Freeport.
You see what I'm saying? And we have Rick Ross coming here every other whenever, because it's like, it don't mean that, oh, because this person got this kind of response. And Ludacris explained why he got that kind of response.
Yeah.
He threw water at them.
They throw water back.
They throw bottles back.
Yeah.
And that's because, like, that was a disconnect. It was a cultural disconnect. Now, when it came to that moment with Julien, he knew what the temperature of the room was. If I be honest, and I could just, like, make all types of statements about just, like, a negative vibe or whatever. If I be honest, from artist to artist, if he came out there, like, first song, with that recent one that he just released, with Shine and Exact, you would not have seen the same response. You wouldn't literally. I personally feel if he had came out with the whip whap, then maybe it wouldn't have been the same response.
And so you're right. So your point is the first thought that comes to my head, all right? All right? Because you're right. There's a Vybz Kartel concert. I come here for a long, harmonious ballad from you. Now, don't get me wrong. I do, like I said, what he did, I understand in theory what he was doing, but this is the wrong context.
Yeah.
There's a place where if he performed like that, the crowd is going to be like, hey, Julien's so crazy, that's great. Yeah. But this is not the place. So I'll take it into my sphere of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why you don't see me doing certain types of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You ain't get. And there's a reason why you won't see other comedians doing what I do, right? And it's because comedians understand on a deeper level, and less times hard, they're just trying to make some money. Mm-hmm. But they understand generally on a deeper level, hey,
this lane is my lane.
This my lane. I don't do that. I'm not good at that. If you try to do stuff for kids, you need broad comedy. If you're trying to do stuff for persons who could be halfway drunk, you can't be coming there and say, oh, hey, did you hear about the news and blah, 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 blah?
Yeah.
That don't work. Like, and when I was young, literally I was like, babe, I cannot pick up a girl in the club because 80% of my power is me talking. If you can't hear me, then I am useless here in this environment. Yeah. You understand? So it's like, he did what he did. Dang. And not even like them cool mud skipper words, right? So it's like his, like you said, the whip whop might have been better, right? This is the part where we get slightly more controversial, right? Because I agree with everything you say, right? In terms of there was a disconnect between him and the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have exact quotes of what he said in his defense,
mm-hmm.
but it felt, and between him and his supporters, it felt like it was leaning towards, like you say, well, like people have been saying, blaming the Bahamian audience in general.
Okay,
Right.
and let me tell you the reason why it don't make no sense in any kind of scenario trying to blame the Bahamian public.
Right.
I hate whenever we look at ourselves objectively and and some people would look at it in a small island kind of mentality. If you look around the world, my bro, every culture is critical about whatever you
Yeah.
want to talk. Like okay, you think in Jamaica certain boy that may never get boo off stage, and on the biggest stages they probably have been hosting for the year whenever like that. And I talking about the biggest of names, Super Cat get bottles thrown at him where he had to threaten the crowd. Super Cat, I talking about sometimes Abaka, some of them rally back. The GOAT, where I take like the top dogs of dancehall have been had thrown bottles at. And people would say, oh, Jamaicans don't do that. I mean, and no disrespect to the Jamaicans, and you know what I mean? I'm just showing that humans and nature, we are critical of things when it comes to the things that we digest, especially if you're spending money on it.
If you're spending money on it and it's supposed to represent me.
And it's supposed to represent me.
Right. I don't feel that this is up to what I like. And now that's where it becomes complicated because on one hand, what is Bahamian culture, right? At best we could get is 60% agreement. We can't ever get 100% agreement. But beyond that, it's like, if I like something, cool. If you
when
like
you
something
say that,
cool,
you mean like what is Bahamian? Like I mean, like mind you, we have a definition of what our culture is.
we
like,
do, but the thing is, the definition should not be cement. It should be pliable. It should be malleable. Where it's like it able to move. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, I could love Ronnie Butler. I could love George Simonet. I could love Blind Blake. I could love Joseph Spence. It's irresponsible of me to be mad at you when I go to Regatta and you ain't singing along to George Simonet. And you ain't never heard George Simonet songs before, or you've heard it in passing, but you don't know. This ain't what you here for, right? Read the room, read the crowd. And so it's like there is space for each of these things to exist, but at the same time, this ain't necessarily the right place. And this is the complicated part, or the controversial part.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Right? Being a well-known artist and being a popular artist are not the same thing, in my estimation.
Elaborate.
So there are people, and without throwing any other people under the bus, there are people who you could go in any room and say their name because they've marketed themselves well, and everybody know that person. And I talk about different stratas of society, not just like a pocket here, a pocket there. Everybody know who that person is. Nobody can name 4 of their songs. Nobody can name 3 of their songs. Nobody could sing one of their songs. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's like, and that's not a situation of Bahamian hate. I've heard of you. I've seen you. You are who the government is sent off to China to open up for Bahamian embassies. But I don't know your music. Now, as hurtful as it might sound, right? You represent an idea of the culture, an aspect of the culture in a certain, very specific place. The controversial part of this is I must question promoters in general, as well as radio programmers in general, on what they choose to put in the air or on the air, or who they choose to put as headliners of shows, if responses aren't what they were looking for.
You know what the problem is? The problem is, remember the law we was talking about the other day with the music union and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I feel like the problem is that they are under the assumption that when it says you have to have a Bahamian artist on stage, they think that looks and sounds a particular way. Because when we ask you what is Bahamian music, going back to that controversial conversation, if we get really controversial with it, that sounds a certain way to certain people when you say Bahamian music. That don't sound like BahaMian Trae for certain people, you know, when you say Bahamian music.
Of course not.
So even though I know some people might hear that and think, oh, no, man, ain't no way certain people might be thinking that way. But believe it or not, when it comes down to certain people, especially, sadly, certain decision makers, they think about certain stuff, and especially as of recently, in a certain narrow way.
I will tell you, not only do they expect a certain sound, because they're willing to give leeway for something that is more, I'm going to, for lack of a better term, more in their estimation, refined and polished.
Mm-hmm.
But what they really mean is something that sounds more American or more Trinidadian or more Bayesian, anything else, right? Something that sounds more popular, right?
Mm.
But it's also, they have an idea of what they want it to look like. And honest, you want a real controversial opinion?
What's that?
The controversial opinion, this is unrelated to music altogether. It's the reason why so many marketing teams in the Bahamas are horrible is because the person who hired them because they was attracted to them, as opposed to hiring them because they actually know they do it. There's a lot of people who have jobs because somebody found them attractive.
Facts.
That should not be the bar for when you saying, I want somebody who's going to entertain people who are paying to see them. Who do people like? What do people want to hear? And this is the reason. So they say, you don't sound like what I like. You don't look like what I like. And so therefore, I ain't even putting you in the conversation. Let's start from people who I feel are marketable, who I feel like I like. The problem with this is that you end up with situations where somebody who thrives in one environment is in an environment that was never intended for them. There is Vybz Kartel environment is a whole different environment.
I'll even give you a bigger example. The other day, who traveled here for a concert? Buju Banton, the Long Ride for Freedom or Long Walk for Freedom concert. And we saw that, and then we saw that the artist was added to that show. Who? Kodak Black. Everybody said, what? Kodak on a Buju show? That don't make no sense. And guess exactly what happened.
It didn't make no sense.
Bro, it didn't make no sense. After Buju performed, the stadium was empty for Kodak.
Wait.
For Kodak.
They had Kodak after Buju?
Exactly. And even Kodak went on Instagram and said that didn't make no sense. So this ain't just the first time when it comes to concert being done where people was like, hey, Moto, where Lil Wayne is? Like, there was so many different type of controversial things that have happened with concerts and when it comes to coordinating dates. And I think, but not to be so jokey with it, but this go back to assemblies in high school, bro. I don't think people over here with certain things when it comes to organizing an event have locked it down yet, bro.
No, and so they, beyond not locking it down, right? My question then is, right?
Because that concert as an event, people said was a flawed vibe. Like, it was entertaining for that, but there's so many horror stories behind the way that event went as an event. Because
the person didn't plan it out necessarily. We have to take another break. But when we come back from this break, right, I want to talk to you about, well, basically how we can address those things, right? And how we can address those things, how we can make it better moving forward. This is Sidebar, a 103 to B podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna. We'll be right back.
Well has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madeira Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay eating well.
Tired of driving around from place to place just to get your car insured and licensed? Frustrated with the process of being back and forth from your insurance company to road traffic? Well, BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers just made insuring and licensing your motor vehicle as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1. Visit us at the Road Traffic Department, Section 1, Thomas A. Robinson Sports Stadium. At our office, you can purchase or renew your insurance or get your vehicle inspected. We at BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers represent major carriers. Step 2. See the professionals at Road Traffic to get your vehicle licensed. Step 3. Enjoy your day. Insure with BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers today, saving you time and money. Your one-stop shop for all of your insurance needs. Great rates, convenient, excellent service. For more information, call us at 322-2221.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Welcome back to Sidebar 103 The Beat podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna with BahaMian Trae. We are talking about Bahamian music, Bahamian culture, the expectation of the public as well as, I guess, artists, in through the lens of the Julien Believe saga, as you said. All right. Now, part of the question will always be, well, if this person isn't right for this, but that's the only name I know. All right. How does one find out? Right. I'm just saying, right. For Bobotino had, I want to say, if not the biggest song, one of the biggest songs last year, right? Mm-hmm. The song about getting paper, selling foreign, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force Band playing the song, right? That's how popular the song is. The police playing the song, all right? Explain to me why there are radio stations that will never play Bobotino, right?
Okay. I think there's a few things about it. Like, there's a responsibility from the artists, there's a responsibility from the promoters, there's a responsibility from the radio stations. Mm-hmm. And here's the responsibility from the artist. If Bobotino does in fact have a clean version of that song and he emailed that to the radio stations and they still don't play it, the ball is literally now in the radio station court where that's like, okay, yeah, y'all choosing not to play this play music. Now, Bobotino never created a clean version for the song, which I hope he has knowledge that you have to make a clean version. Because a lot of dudes don't know that you have to actually, in studio, create a clean version for your song, and the radio station doesn't do that. Being in someone that previously was in radio, I've had a lot of dudes who thought that the radio station is make the clean versions for you. So hopefully Tino knows that that's something that he has to do, and that's probably the reason why the music ain't playing on the radio. But if that's the case, then that's what that is. But now, when it comes to the radio stations, they have a responsibility as well to play not just music, but quality music and stuff like that. And sometimes not just popular music. A lot of times over the years, popular music have not been quality music. And the truth is, that's what it means, flat. So meaning that when you play a song in a car versus playing that next top Billboard 100 song that's going to play in the car, they decide whether or not their air listeners are going to be staying there because of the quality of sound that they are standard for.
And I understand. That makes sense. That's what program directors are there for, to curate the music.
Now, for the promoters, when it comes to...
wait, before we jump before we go to the promoters, right? On the radio side of it, right? For me, on one hand, if you are a commercial radio station, your job is to maintain the audience for the commercials, right? And so, on one hand, I understand there being a situation where you're saying, oh, quality. But for years and years and years, because I've worked in the general vicinity of radio for a long time. Mm-hmm. For years, the excuse has been, this is not the quality. But at the same time, Triple X, I used to call him Triple Extension, but Extacion, right? His stuff could get radio play because it's popular enough. When I know that the Florida rap sound at that time was this distorted sound, right? That if a Bahamian submitted that to you, you'd say no, right? And I'm saying like there are times where, and I understand your point about the clean version, because even Vybz Kartel, as big as he is, he have clean and dirty versions of all his songs, right? Let's not, he ain't trying to like hold up nothing or whatever. But then there are times where a song is popular enough that somebody will go and they'll find a version, or they'll, let's spin this word around.
There has been songs that have gotten that kind of treatment and have bypassed, I guess, what we can call that gate. For example, one song wasn't even, and I love to like give examples that are outside of me when it comes to this stuff, so that people don't think it's like me trying to rant for myself. Pardon I was one of those songs. Pardon I was one of those songs that pushed through, where in this way where radio stations forced themselves to play that song, even though it had certain stuff in it where it's like, okay, the N-word was there and there, and dudes literally was out here cleaning up the songs themselves. Sometimes, and that's not the radio station's responsibility to
No, I get the responsibility.
Like, there's like songs where, all right, we got the underground dudes working, this become popular on the road, and we could put this out there on the radio. So there have been one or two songs that have like gone past that threshold.
Now, and the reason why, in my estimation, why it is important for us to, one, hold the radio stations to account, right, is because at the end of the day, if more people know...
Don't forget there's a business side of radio, too.
No, I understand.
Like, music has to also be registered, but all these other different type of
all that stuff
for them to be paying. And then
all that stuff, I get... And anyway, that's a whole different day. It's supposed to be. All right? But yes, all that I understand. But at the same time, if you are willing to go above and beyond for this song because it's popular, and this song is equally as popular, but it ain't got no radio play.
I mean, Young Boy don't get no radio play.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta also like look at this full scape of like the worldwide view, where even if certain dudes ain't getting like a radio play, like the responsibility is beyond radio now when it comes to entertainment, where like consumer and consumption. Like, you have dudes on Audio Map with millions of views that are right from here, like right around the corner from Carmichael Road. Like,
but see, that's the thing. So this is my issue with it, right? My issue with that is I don't know them because I don't go surfing through Audio Mac, right? The only person from Audio Mac I listen to was Siobhan, all right? MCK. Anyway, right? The whole point is that's the only person I've ever listened to on that, all right? So now my thing is, there those persons who around the corner, down Carmichael, who may have a bigger following, who may say, oh, well, if you saying that I could get a sponsorship deal from this big company, but I need to do X, Y, and Z, I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z because now people approaching me. Because the people who sign the checks, they're not in the underground. You don't sign checks in the underground. You
understand? Guess what? It's important like, watch out. Will you blame a company right now? Like, if a company, if you sitting in front of a, like, and let's just be honest, like, if we was like representing a company, we were sitting at a round table and you was to mention a name like Kai Sanat, and then the let's say the whoever ahead of whoever says, I don't know who that is. Are you going to blame Kai Sanat, or are you going to blame that company?
For not knowing who Kai Sanat is?
For not knowing who Kai Sanat is right now in today's day.
I blame the company.
Thank you. And that's all what we have to do now when it comes to being critical about artists, company, and entities like promoters or whoever like that. Because a promoter can't tell me this the top dude in your country and you in entertainment and you don't know who that boy is. How? And see, that's not that's a responsibility of you now.
Right.
You feel
that's
me?
What I'm saying. So for me, the radio stations, the promoters, and for the promoters to do it, because the promoters at the end of the day, they're businessmen, all right? The radio stations, I feel, would be the step before. For if they are the ones who saying, we pulling people from out of the underground, we saying, oh, we like this song, whatever. And you ain't got, I ain't saying play it 10 times a day, but at least give them some air.
I'd say, like, see, the beautiful thing about, like I say again, the way how the entertainment scene is now, social media is in such a way where you don't actually have to go through that gate of radio again. But I'd say big up to the DJs who still try to a little bit like throw the underground in there. But keep in mind, we have to also think about the responsibility of both sides. Radio station DJs can't play your music if you ain't got the clean music for them to play.
Yeah, but
and they also need to, just like how they go digging for other music, like from other dudes, they need to reach out to some of these dudes and get clean versions.
Yeah.
But if you reaching out to these dudes and you
And
ain't
they-
getting your clean
no, that's
versions,
different.
then these dudes need
They-
to, like, so you see
they
where it's
falling
going
off.
back
Yeah,
and
yeah,
forth,
yeah, no.
left and right. So it's not just in the responsibility of one person,
No.
but it's all these other factors in play. And once these things in play, like, I promise you, for every case, just like I talked about with the clean version with that wife, I bet you, and that's a question that I want to find out. Like, does Dogo Tino have a clean version of that song where he ain't saying the N-word, or where he ain't saying maybe one or two things where these are derogatory for radio? Did he send it to radio, and are they choosing not to play it?
Right.
Because then those questions make us say, oh, yeah, y'all fighting him down, versus no, you ain't doing the right things business-wise.
But also, and then also in terms of standards, like what is the standard? Because then some radio stations have American standards, and then some radio stations have Bahamian standards in terms of what could play it. I'm just saying, like, these are all things that need to be hard and fast and in place when you get to.
And that all depends on if what you want to. Like, do you want to be played on radio? And are you doing the certain rounds to Because I guess some like, especially when you in a realm like what you know, like, okay, if you is a content creator and no one taught you how to use a camera, it's like, are you going to find that information how to use that camera, or are you going to just sit back and be like, mother flap, boy?
Well, I mean, you're in a content creator,
Like,
if you're never making nothing.
You see?
Oh, but you're saying like if they were using the phone.
But I know I'm saying, like, when it comes to now, like the analogy when it comes to the musician, if you are a musician in the music business, and there are certain things about the music business that you should know if you want to get through these certain avenues, are you going to sit back and allow things to fall from the sky, or are you going to try to push through certain doors to figure out, okay, if I want to be on radio, how do I get on radio? If I want to get my get on this concert, how do I get on this concert? Or if I want to do this, how do I get on this? A lot of dudes just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
And it don't just happen like that. Sometimes you gotta inquire.
That's a creative
and that's
person
from
problem.
all ends. I talk not just the musicians. I talk about just like how when I talk about with certain DJs who will go on with certain record players to make sure they have certain do with them song immediately when it come out.
Yeah.
They like and another thing with certain DJs is too. And my DJ brethrens, please
don't take offense.
Don't take offense, but Mother Free is like, I noticed y'all is warm blood in order to play certain songs. Like I had this one to the DJ, like I sent him the music and I was like, okay. He said, oh, when I sent him the music, it was around the Christmas time. He was like, oh, I hope you put a Christmas dub in there for me. And I was like, send me a video of you playing my music, and bro, I'll have that dub in your email ASAP. The dude laughed. He laughed.
Why would anyway?
I also had another DJ who tell me, say, oh, before you could play my music, you need to start trending on TikTok. And then it started to trend on TikTok, and I still don't know if he was playing my music afterwards.
Yeah, but then also,
so it's like some DJs will try to put you through so many loops, and I just saying for them DJs, like I feel like some of them is put this like huge locked door key vibe to make you try to
what it is?
So much things in order for them to play your vibe.
So that.
Because DJs in the inception, I feel like their whole motive, at least at one point in time, was to break artists. You've probably learned about a lot of artists through DJs, through certain vibes. Like,
that's the whole the reason that before the internet existed, before like there were specific websites to tell you this and that or whatever, or this is who coming out. Before Google alerts used to say, "Hey, Drake just dropped a song." All right, the DJ had to tell you, hey, here's a song by so-and-so. That's how DJ Khaled got big. Songs would come to him and say, you guys got to hear this song. And he played the song 5 times back to back. That's how things like Breaking Neck, Breakout, that's how Shaggy, right? Because Shaggy was on tour, right? And it wasn't...
The Hawaiian DJ.
Bang. You know the story, right? Mm-hmm. And the Hawaiian DJ bootleg it, play it, and everybody say, what that song was, play it again. And then the dudes in LA had a Hawaiian DJ. They stopped playing it. By the time Shaggy reached where he was going, the song blew up from the west, headed towards him. But when they started the tour, he was ready to give up. Right? And so it's like, that's the role of DJs. But now the problem is, I think that there are a lot of people who are gatekeepers, and they see being a gatekeeper as, I keep people out, not I let people in. They're not letting anybody in. if think about this now. This is for me? This dumb, this stupid for me to say, hey Trey, as soon as your video get 1,000 viewers or no, 1,000 likes, 10,000 likes, then I can do a video with you. That don't make no sense because you don't need me at that point. If somebody waiting for your music to trend on TikTok before they play you live, they have missed the point. It is through you playing my music that people find out about the music and then say, oh, that sound cool, what that is. And then go looking up the music. They got this backwards. They saying, as soon as you get famous, then come see me. When I get famous, I don't need you. Right? And so like the same thing for radio stations where it's like radio stations, and now they're getting worse because now it's like you could blow up and they still trying to ignore you. Right? And so it's like, wait, what is the point? Right? Because if you're a gatekeeper and all you're doing is keeping people out, when your entire thing collapses and crumbles around, and once again, I don't even fully blame I can't blame Julien. But like when things crumble, you pushing this, you pushing that, and nobody resonates with it. When we have a million different ways to get music, I hear a song, I don't like it, I don't just turn off the radio. I could turn on Spotify, I could turn on YouTube. I have my phone as an MP3 player. I could download music. There's a million different avenues. So you have to present me something that I can't get nowhere else. Bring your magical air. Don't just pull top 40 and don't just pull, oh, I know this person already popular. Well, if they're already popular, I probably have their song. Right? And so all those things, in my estimation, more so for the radio gatekeepers, but then the DJ gatekeepers and the promoter gatekeepers need to be, all y'all need to get in line and say, hey, what are Bahamians actually listening to?
And that's the reason why, like, when you look at industries across the region and across the world, that's why you will come to a party in the Bahamas and there are songs that are popular here that aren't popular in Jamaica. And you will go to Jamaica and you will hear songs that only popular there and not popular in London.
Yeah.
Or go to London and you will play certain...
Need a new car for your business? Well, EV Motors and the Bahamas Development Bank have some news for you.
At the Bahamas Development Bank, we are committed to promoting Bahamian businesses and entrepreneurs. With our green lending program, businesses are able to access up to 100% financing to purchase electric vehicles for commercial and fleet use. We are so excited to partner with EV Motors for this initiative to encourage and empower business owners to drive green.
If you haven't visited our dealership on Tonic Williams Styling Highway as yet, we have a wide variety of brand new EVs from some of your favorite brands like Toyota, BYD, and Mercedes-Benz. As the official distributor of Kerry Commercial Vehicles, we offer a selection of high-performance commercial EVs. Currently, you can purchase the Kerry Cargo Van and the Kerry Elephant Truck, and soon, flatbeds and box trucks for all your business needs.
To access up to 100% financing to purchase an EV for your business, you will need to provide us with a few documents: the business plan or executive summary, business license, historical financials, relevant KYC documents, and the vehicle and insurance quote.
With an interest rate of 6.75% and a repayment period of up to 8 years, you don't want to miss this fantastic opportunity.
To apply, visit our website today at bahamasdevelopmentbank.com or give us a call at 702-5700.
Welcome back to Sidebar, 102 The podcast, powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna. I'm with BahaMian Trae. I'm going to let you have the final word.
Bro, I mean, when it comes to our Bahamian music industry, I see so much growth, and that's what I want to commend. And I'm talking about from the consumer standpoint, from the artist standpoint, okay, 10 years ago, we weren't having much debate and conversation about Bahamian artists and Bahamian music. that is a good thing. Whether or not it's a negative conversation we have, or whether or not it's a positive conversation, it's a good thing that there is activity, because whether or not people like to make the statement to say, oh, we don't have an industry, the existence of these activities prove that there is an industry. So because there's people making money and there's people making these certain strides, we could say, all right, this industry exists. And now that we know that this industry exists, we have to be responsible in each of our respective capacities, as especially, like you say, industry leaders and gatekeepers or whatever, however we want to call it. So promoters, you have a responsibility to look at and I mean, you know what's so funny about the whole thing as well? I mean, I know different countries have bidding processes when it comes to this, especially since it's from a legislative point of view that Bahamian artists must be on a stage if a foreign artist is performing. We have to also now start to look at this sadly, certain government contract. Let's do a bidding process. Let's have a proper type of situation where rather than you doing a Facebook, Instagram post telling people to tag people, which and you still ain't listen.
Right.
Because you did not see majority of the names, and sadly, big up to both of the artists who were on the show. But I mean, out of all of the people who was getting tagged, obviously they didn't listen to the people in the comments. So what was the reason for for the whole Facebook posting? So, it's let's have better bidding processes when it comes to these stuff. And promoters, if y'all ain't trying to do no bidding process, let's make sure you're looking at the industry properly to figure out, okay, what is it that people want? What is it that people don't want? Radio stations, I've been seeing a different support on a solid level. So big up to the radio stations for what they've been doing. Big up to the DJs as well in the capacity of what they've been doing. But of course, I still think that there's always room for more improvement. So let's try to do our best if we really and truly saying that we're doing this for the culture. Because some people say, yeah, but it's for the culture. But it's under certain conditions. So it's are you going to pay me? Or some of these people will be or certain conditions. So I just let's just make sure that we taking full responsibility and stuff like that. And to the consumers, and when I say that, I mean the Bahamian people, don't never feel as an audience pressured when it comes to you talking about what it is that you spend your money on.
You like what you like.
You like what you like. You have a right to your opinion, and you have a right to do, you know what I mean? Because not all of people don't know all of my songs. You see what I'm saying? Some of them are popular and some of them are not so popular, just like every other artist. So it's I have a responsibility to make sure I listen to what people want to listen to, try to make sure that I give the BahaMian Trae in the best way that I should. And I will continue to do so.
People tell me I find it all the time.
Stay tuned to BahaMian Trae. Big things coming this summer. Follow me on all social medias, BahaMian Trae. And my bro, it's always an awesome conversation with you. Always an awesome conversation.
Good to have you. Good to have you. And it was good to have you as well. This has been Sidebar 103 to Be podcast powered by ILTV. I'm Stephen Hanna.
And I'm BahaMian Trae.
I'll see you next week.
Well has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay eating well.
Tired of driving around from place to place just to get your car insured and licensed? Frustrated with the process of being back and forth from your insurance company to road traffic? Well, BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers just made insuring and licensing your motor vehicle as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1. Visit us at the Road Traffic Department, Section 1, Thomas A. Robinson Sports Stadium. At our office, you can purchase or renew your insurance or get your vehicle inspected. We at BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers represent major carriers. Step 2. See the professionals at Road Traffic to get your vehicle licensed. Step 3. Enjoy your day. Insure with BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers today, saving you time and money. Your one-stop shop for all of your insurance needs. Great rates, convenient, excellent service. For more information, call us at 322-2221.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?